I'm Alistair Shipsey. I'm Milat's nephew, back here again. Now, you all asked the question of was it Ivan, who was it murdering these backpackers? Their number one suspect was a man named Win Kasperchek. What happened was his children were with him when he was picking up hitchhikers, taking them to a forest, meeting a group of people, and they were stabbing them and shooting them repeatedly. Now, his two children were both taken to two different places with welfare workers so they couldn't contaminate their story. Now, they both talked about the murders and how they were murdered, and they talked about how Win Kasperchek mutilated the sexual organs of one woman, cut a little finger off, and another body he cut up, put it in bags, and put it in the back of his car and dumped it. Now, these children were both taken away by different counsellors to make sure they didn't contaminate their stories. They both told the same stories. And at the end of it, the welfare workers contacted the detectives, and the detectives turned on them over it. So we have the name of the detectives and the welfare workers to back all this up. It's on my page on the Milat letters, the story. Now, they also said that these children explained how these people were murdered, the backpackers, and they said it was never released to the public. And they also said that the children explained the horror on these people's faces as they were being murdered. And they said young children couldn't imagine that. They'd have to see it. Now, Win Kasperchek's wife, she actually told the police where his car was, how he had it taken to the wreckers. And she said it was her car and there was nothing wrong with it. When the police went there, she went there with them. Now, when they looked in it, the children told them how he murdered somebody in the back seat and put the cut-up body in the back of the car. The police did a swab and checked it in the car, and it had blood all through the back seat where blood had been, and it had blood in the back of the car as well. And Win Kasperchek's wife said, "You sure it's not blood from fishing? He goes fishing a bit." They said, "No, not with our technology today. It's definitely human blood." Then they took all the panels and the carpet out of the car. Now, where are the panels and where's the carpet? Also, she had a .22 Winchester that she said that he used to use. The police took it and said that was one of the weapons used in Blanglo murders. Now, that gun disappeared. Never heard of again. The day they arrested Ivan, they picked Win Kasperchek up and they locked him up for 8 months to get him out of the way. Now, he was involved with a group of people. What happened was the Olympic board rang up here in Australia and said, "How do we know it's a safe place with all these murders in the forest?" They panicked and thought about the billions of dollars they wouldn't get and the millions of tourists. And if they had to get Win Kasperchek with the group of people involved with him, it would have taken too long. So it was easier for them to get one man, Ivan Milat, and frame him for these murders. Now, even the judge in court said, "We have no proof that Ivan Milat murdered anyone." And the judge said, "We have no proof that Ivan was ever in the forest. But he must have been there with another or others." That's how he got the stuff in his house. And he told the jury, misdirected them, a miscarriage of justice, and told them to find him guilty on what they found in the house. And he said, the Crown does not have to prove their case. So nothing was proven. The gun parts were found in the creek at Berrima, the .22 Ruger parts. It was almost wanted and in the paper. All the backpacks and camping gear, what they failed to tell the public was they gave all that back to the family. None of it was the backpackers, and in court they said it was similar. The water bottle that they said they found was Simone's was handed in at Bright Police Station with the glasses, so they shut that all down. The shirt they said was Paul Onion's. Ivan's wife, who's divorced from him and doesn't like him, came to court and said she bought two exactly the same from Kmart for him for work. And the Benetton jumper where they reckon his girlfriend was wearing it, even the solicitor said to one of Ivan's brothers, "You can see the stripes are different thicknesses. Why didn't they point it out in court?" So there's been a lot of lies and a lot of cover-ups. Now, when they were filming everything in the house on the arrest, they turned the camera off before cutting the hole in the wall and turned it on after. If the gun parts weren't there, don't you think the most crucial part of the evidence? They should have filmed it. Ivan said they found them 3 gun parts. They said they found them in the roof, in a cavity. But he said you can't get your hand down the cavity because there's noggins in the top of the wall. There's no way you can get them. He said they put 2 gun parts in a boot and said they found them there. He said, don't you think if a serial killer was hiding his stuff, he'd hide it together? 3 days after they'd searched the house fully for 3 days, they said they found a spent bullet case that belonged to that firing pin in the middle of his spare room floor. Now, the firing pin, they make them in the factories and they all make them the same, and it probably takes thousands before they change in any way. Now, in court, there's no court in this world could you use those gun parts to convict anybody of anything without the barrel. This just to prove there's a lot of lies and cover-ups, and it needs to be investigated, because Ivan Milat has sat in jail for 22 years and been framed for a crime he didn't do, and the crime here is they let real killers walk, and they know about it, and they lied to the families and everybody in Australia and the people of the world. This is why Ivan needs a retrial, so we can prove our point. Real killers were allowed to walk free, all for the good of this country, for what it was worth. Billions of dollars, the Olympics, and millions of tourists to promote our country. Ivan is just a number. He's nothing to these people.